here with us?
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Naam. Jazakallah khairan. So quickly, I will just run through an introduction of our guest speaker. Sorry, okay. Yeah, our guest speaker is Dr. Abdulhakeem Shino Oyewale. He has his BSc in accounting from the University of Lagos and also an MSc in business administration from the University of. He also holds a professional certificate in the Global University of INCEIF, and he recently obtained his PhD in Management of Technology and Innovation from the Da Vinci Institute in South Africa. Our guest speaker is an experienced Chief Executive Officer. Currently, he is the Chief Executive Officer and the co-founder of Marble Capital Limited, where he is focusing more on the advocacy and thought leadership engagement for investment funds that are specifically targeted at alternative and ethical asset classes, including faith-based structures like Sukuk. He has been also been engaging with investors in utilizing ESG screens for determining investment assets that respect the environment and recognize and reward governance and socially responsible for. Prior to founding Marble Cap, has been in a senior leadership position at Stanbic IBTC Group. He was one time the CEO of Stanbic IBTC Stockbrokers Limited. And then afterwards, he was the deputy head of investor services at Stanbic IBTC Bank PLC. Before he was made the regional head to West Africa for investment services at Standard Bank, which is the holding company of the bank within which Stanbic IBTC Bank is. Before leaving Stanbic Group, his last executive position was the Chief Executive Officer of Stanbic IBTC Nominees, where he was responsible for the custodial vehicle for Stanbic IBTC Bank PLC. He was responsible for recommending strategies for business growth to the board, and during that period, he had responsible for assets under custody that were close to USD 20 billion US dollars. We welcome our guest speaker today. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. You have the floor, sir.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you so much, Mr. Inde, for the introduction. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you so much for the introduction, and I would like to use this opportunity to express my appreciation to the organizers for inviting me to this session. I mean, it's really something that I appreciate. I think the Muslim Forum of Britain is doing a lot, in bringing Muslims in diaspora together, and may Almighty Allah continue to guide you in your efforts. Yeah, my name is Hakeem Oyewale, and has been introduced. I run a firm called Marble Capital Limited. Marble Capital Limited is a Nigerian firm whose aim is to ensure that we become the largest and the best fund manager of ethical funds, ethical investments on the continent of Africa. That's our vision, and that's what we are how to achieve. This session that I'm going to have this afternoon essentially is going to be discussing the opportunities that we believe are available for Muslims in Nigeria from a halal perspective. We think there are so many opportunities available for investors, especially from a halal perspective, but we are also aware that not everybody is conscious of these opportunities. And there are many reasons why they are not. There are many reasons why they feel that we don't have enough halal instruments in Nigeria. Some do not even know that we are getting an increasing number of Islamic finance organizations in Nigeria. Some are not aware that we have investments across all the spectrum of investments, whether it's short-term investment, whether it's long-term investment, whether it's real estate investment, whether it's commodities investment. These are all investments that are allowed. So depending on what you think you are trying to get, you actually have an opportunity, even in Nigeria, to be able to participate, whether you are in diaspora, whether you are a local, So I'm going to speak to the concern that a lot of people have.
Sir, is it possible for you to be on video, sir? I just got some message. If it's okay.
No, it's okay.
Okay.
If you can
see me, I think I can see a video now. No, that's not fine. No.
Okay, I'm just sure that's fine. Yeah. Okay.
No. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. So the concern a lot of people ask is, what is halal? When you people talk about halal investment, are you really sure what you're asking us to participate in is really halal investment, or you're just labeling it so that we can buy it? That is a concern that a lot of people have. And I would like to actually debunk that concern by letting people know that, yes, we have a whole load of halal investment options in our community, in the country, and even on the continent. But to answer directly, the question is, if someone asks you what is halal, halal is simple. Halal investment is any investment time that is permissible for Muslims to participate in. Anything that is not haram is halal. It's as simple as that. Now, we know enough as to what is haram. We know we are not meant to be involved in piggery. We're not meant to be taking interest-based investment and all of that. So we know what is the thing that is not haram is simply halal. That is to just make it very simple for us. Now, to explain and to ensure that people understand what halal investments are, there are some safeguards, that have been put in place. We have what we call advisory committee of experts, in most leading organizations that are offering Islamic finance. And this advisory committee of experts are made up of very, very erudite Islamic scholars, not only knowledgeable in Sharia, but also in Islamic finance. And what they do is that before any investment is brought up to investors like yourselves, those investments must go through the rudiment of being certified by these Sharia compliance committees. We call them Advisory Committee of Experts, or ACE. Not only do we have them for all fund management firms that are offering Islamic finance, we also have them at the regulatory level, especially in Nigeria, where the central bank has done a lot of work in putting forward the benefits of Islamic finance. We have a team made up of very erudite scholars led under what we call the phrase, which is the Financial Regulatory Committee that actually reviews, Advisory Committee of Experts that reviews all investments that has to be approved by or offered for sale or offered to the investing public by Islamic banks in Nigeria. Whether you are meant to make any investment that to be by the SEC, that Securities and Exchange Commission, or the halal instrument, they must go through this phrase and they will scrutinize this investment before they put their stamp on it. That you can go ahead and let people know that by investing in this instrument, you are investing in a halal structure. We've seen our sukuk, the federal government sukuk, especially the one that came out last year and the previous ones, they were all subjected to very rigorous checks by the phrase committee to ensure that it actually meets the requirement of stamping it as halal. The same way you go to the supermarket or you go to a restaurant and they will show you a halal certification for such a restaurant or for a meal that you're about to purchase, is the same way that today we have halal investments all around us, especially in Nigeria. And one of the leading investment companies, Ethis, Ventures, they've tried to give us very simple analysis on how to determine whether an investment is halal or is not halal. The first one is that any investment without interest or other impermissible elements, you can classify them as halal. So if you're not into piggery, you are not into pornography, you are not into arms and ammunition that is not authorized, then you are in a halal investment. And any investment that follows the halal model, in our climb, one of the requirements for being halal is to have your investment certified by the ACE or by the phrase. And the regulatory authorities in Nigeria, the Securities and Exchange Commission, they're actually doing their best to ensure that that is maintained. So if you meet these two criteria, any kind of investment that you are doing is halal, and halal. But this is the basic of distinction. Now, for us as investors, the Muslim Forum of Britain, we know these traditional asset classes, cash or near cash equivalent, shares, equities, investments in companies, whether it's a publicly listed company, whether it's a private company, fixed income investments, whether it's short-term, whether it's long-term money market investments, whether it's in a sukuk, or whether it's in a commercial paper, real estate is a key traditional asset class as well. Some call it an alternative asset class. Yes, but it's also an asset class that we all know about. Commodities is also an investment asset class that a lot of us are not aware of. We are not aware of the fact that actually investing in a halal way. The final one is what I'll call the alternative asset class or alternative asset classes. Now, this is broad and this is unique. This requires a lot of knowledge before you go into it. So it includes investments in private equity funds, in hedge funds, in venture capital funds. It includes investments in asset classes like the Bitcoin or technology entities. Now, why is this important, especially if you are observing it from a halal prism? It is important because there are some asset classes in the alternative classes that have not yet been conventionally or generally agreed that they are allowed. So you need to be careful, when you are investing in digital currencies, where you're investing in Bitcoins or any of these electronic investments. Some scholars certify it, while some are yet to be moved across the line, for some reasons that are valid, but that does not in any way, shape, or form dissuade investments, in alternative asset classes. I'm just emphasizing that whenever you want to make such an investment, you should demand to see the halal certification note. So all these traditional asset classes are halal investment opportunities for Muslims, especially for Muslims in diaspora. And all of these are available in Nigeria as of today. You can invest in any instrument in any of our Islamic banks, whether it's Jaiz Bank, Lotus Bank, Sterling Bank, and they will give you some returns, on your cash investments, which they could have invested in a Murabaha, Mudaraba, any Islamic asset instrument. They can put your money in it and you'll get some returns for just giving your money to them, allowing them to invest your money for you. They have wakala options that allow them to be able to act as your agent and channel your funds to a particular investment class for you. So you can invest in cash. We have what we call an Islamic index, even on the Nigerian exchange. We have the Lotus Halal index. We have the Marble index. So all of these are equity indexes that allows you to invest in certified Islamic stocks. So you don't have to bother whether, I'm trying to invest in Stanbic IBTC, I'm trying to invest in First Bank, and these are the only assets that are performing. No, we have a list of 15 stocks on the Nigerian exchange or the NGX that are allowed certified, and there are a lot more than that, but we have top 15 stocks, that allow certified that if you want to invest in a halal way in a company that you believe in its growth prospects, in its dividend paying ability, you can actually have access to those instruments, and they are available. The lists are on the website of the NGX, they're on the website of Marble Capital, of Lotus Capital, and a few other Islamic leaning investment companies. Then you have the fixed income investments. You have the sukuk. The most popular sukuk we know of in Nigeria is the FGN sukuk series. We've just had the 4th series of the NGN sukuk, but we need to understand that that is just the tip of the iceberg. We have series of investments in Sukuk in Nigeria that are not just the FGN Sukuk. Yes, the other popular one was the Osun State Sukuk that gave good returns and was able to return money to its investors. But we also have a lot of high quality investment grade Sukuk instruments, especially in the last 2 years when people came to know that this investment in Halal is actually a real one. We've had the Purple 5 billion naira private sukuk that's investing in a project on Freedom Way in Lekki, Lagos. We had the family home sukuk that raised a total of 10 billion naira, to invest across Nigeria in real estate and was approved and certified by the phrase. We had the first green sukuk investment in Nigeria for those investors that are concerned not only about investing in a halal instrument, but they also want to invest in an instrument that encourages environmentally friendly investments or sustainable investment opportunities. We also had a subnational that raised a sukuk last year, Katsina State government that raised a long-term sukuk from the private market. We also have, under this fixed income investments as well, short-term investment commercial paper that were launched in the course of the year last year, and also another series that will be launched in the next 2 weeks in Nigeria. This gives you investment for 90 days, investment for 180 days, investment for 270 days, with very good returns as high as 14–15%. Okay, we also have opportunities for investments in what we call exchange traded commodities in a note that is linked, that allows you to be able to get fixed income returns. So all of these are available for those that are conscious and those that seek to know which kind of halal investment they should participate in. I will be quick to say also that most of the time, these kind of investments are only available on the private level. The only few ones that you see that are public investments are halal fund, but apart from that, there are approved private funds regulated by the SEC, that allow you to be able to invest in Islamic investment options, and you can get your decent returns across the whole spectrum of the investment cycle. Another asset class I'm going to let us know that is halal and that is available are commodities. Nigeria today has 2 leading commodity exchanges, and we have 3 other commodity exchanges in formation, all approved by the Securities and Exchange Commission. The leading commodity exchange in Nigeria is called the FX Commodity Exchange. It operates out of Abuja. It has more than 90 warehouses across the country in Nigeria. It has about 8 securitized instruments that trade every day. You can invest in commodities that are being certified as halal by regulators. Even where you are in Britain, you can actually download the COMEX app and actually invest in a commodity instrument in Nigeria, and you can track your investment on a daily basis. It is liquid, it is real, and it is halal. So commodities, with Nigeria has gone so far ahead to ensure that we can have access to commodities. The LCFE, the Lagos Commodity and Futures Exchange, is also another exchange that started off last year. They are still starting up, but they also have in the mindset of listing about 30 different commodity products. So if you go to the LCFE website, you will see those products. As they are being approved, then you can participate. On the back of these commodities, fund managers and investment managers are able to create, short-term instruments that allows you to be able to take advantage of the seasonalities of the Nigerian commodities industry. And I can tell you, and I'm going to show you before I finish my presentation, the performances of these instruments. They are quite interesting. Yes, they come with risks, but they are real. And finally, alternatives. I've spoken to you about alternative investment classes. They are the kind of investment that you make when you have some surplus funds. They can be risky, especially if you invest in a new company, that yes, they may have a bit of track record, but you cannot predict their performances going forward. However, if they do perform so well, then the likelihood of you, being able to get out of the investment with multiple earnings is there. In Nigeria, over the last 3 years, we've been the epicenter of investment in fintechs in Nigeria. In Africa. You've seen investment in OPay, you've seen investment in Paystack, in Flutterwave, you've seen investment in a lot of other fintech and growing companies. The latest one is the one that was of last week, was a company called Isusu. Now what these companies do is take advantage of the fact that the economy in Nigeria, the population of our country is quite huge. The market is quite utilizing technology, to have to be able to have a wider reach. So this kind of investment in alternatives, you will need to speak with your fund manager to be able to give you alternative companies to analyze them for you, and you now determine whether you're going to put your money in it. There are very high failure rates in the alternative asset classes. It could be as high as 70%, 60% at times. But the one investment that you may make, can actually have an impact, in a particular sector, but also give you very good financial returns. And like I mentioned earlier as well, when you are investing in alternatives and you want to invest in the Halal segment, you must request, from the fund manager, for the investee company, the Halal certification of their processes, of the activities that they are doing, for you to be comfortable. Halal work and the earnings that come from a good source are a kind of ibadah for which we as Muslims will be rewarded on the day of judgment. So let us be cautious of the investments we make. Let us seek to know who can guide us when it comes to investment opportunities, and let us take advantage of the growth that we've been seeing in Islamic finance over the last few years. Islamic finance is not new globally. It's been around for more than 1,500 years, but in the last 50 years, we've been seeing increase, in its growth and in its sophistication. Last year, we saw Saudi Aramco raising close to, I think, was $60 billion. I can't remember the exact figure, but it was rated as the deal of the year, when Saudi Aramco decided to sell some of its shares to investors. We've seen countries like the United Kingdom, even the United States, South Africa, non-Muslim countries actually raising sovereign sukuks. It has been adjudged globally that the best way to finance infrastructure is actually to raise sukuks. Nigeria has demonstrated that repeatedly. Everybody that has supplied a road that was built with any of the 3 or 4 sukuk issuances, they've been able to appreciate the value of sukuk. So Islamic finance has actually grown, and we continue to see immense growth in that space. We as investors, we as the Muslim Forum of Britain, we should please participate. If we are participating, that's good. If we have not started participating, let's understand the options available and let us participate a lot more. Over the last 10 years in Nigeria, we've seen immense growth. Of course, some people have had to make the heavy liftings, like Jaiz Bank. They just celebrating their 10th anniversary. But from the guidelines of financial institutions offering Islamic finance being issued in 2011, to offshore raising its sukuk in 2013, to the federal government issuing a 100 billion bond in 2017, to Jaiz Bank becoming a national bank, to Nigeria actually introducing Islamic microfinance banks in 2017, and to even 2020 and 2021, where we actually saw significant growth in Islamic finance in Nigeria. Osun State repaid its sukuk fully. Investors were very happy. Federal government raised 150 billion sukuk. It was 446% subscribed. We saw companies like Taj Bank got a license. They even broke even. Companies like Marble Capital, 117 Capital come into the market to focus exclusively on providing Islamic finance opportunities to investors. And we also saw in 2021, the federal government seeing their Sukuk subscription being oversubscribed 6 times. 6 times. They wanted to raise 250 billion. They raised 895 billion, and we also saw a lot of private Sukuks, Brains and Amas raising Sukuk to finance construction projects, family homes raising Sukuk, One Watt Solar raising the first green Sukuk, Lotus Bank opening its shop. So the last 2 years has been very, very busy, if I can use that word, for Islamic finance growth in Nigeria. The question is, are you participating? Are you taking advantage of this growth to invest in halal instruments? I would like us to answer yes. And if we've not, please let's try and do so. So having said all of this, the question is, what are the halal investment options that are available for me? However, I mean, my boss at Edopite side will flip the answer to this question in the other way. I mean, he normally says to us in a joking manner that follow who know road. Okay, so you are looking for halal investment options. The way you can do it is to try and follow those that know the road, that can provide you with guidance, as far as halal investment is concerned. If you are skillful by yourself, in your own self, yes, fine. But we have organizations that have decided that this is what they're going to focus on. This is what they've trained themselves for. This is what they have set up advisory committee of experts to guide them on. Lotus Capital pioneered investment management, following halal structures. You have Capital Trust that launched a halal fund last year. We have Wahid Invest. This is an international investment entity that's investing in halal structures, not only globally, but also in Nigeria as well, because they've seen the market in Nigeria has been very big. So they are giving you technology to allow you participate in investing in an halal way in Nigeria. Marble Capital, the firm that I represent, has taken very, very huge steps, in advising and ensuring that we come up with a lot of instruments across the whole investment chain, short-term instruments, medium-term, long-term instruments, that gives you the option of investing even in the commodities space. So all these companies, and you have other mutual funds by FVN Halal Fund, Stanbic Halal Fund, Chapel Hill Real Estate Halal Fund. These are all opportunities for you to invest. If you don't know how to invest, go to any of these entities and they will guide you, and ensuring that even to meet up with all the traditional asset classes that are halal, you are able to participate. Having said that, and knowing that the audience here is largely made up of investors in diaspora, we are conscious, of the concerns of investors outside of the country. What are the major concerns of these investors? The first one is foreign exchange. Our Naira has proven that it's not a reliable currency. So why should I work so hard, in another man's country or in my adopted country, send money down to Nigeria for investments in Naira and lose value when I just look at the foreign exchange losses alone? Even if I make a gain of 10% and the FX loses 50%, I'm in the hole, I'm underwater 40%. So foreign exchange losses has been a key one, and the last 3-4 years, especially during the pandemic, has exacerbated this concern by offshore investors and our Nigerian brothers in diaspora. This is a real concern. We acknowledge that fact. We also know that one of the concerns of our folks in diaspora is the fake promises of asset acquisition. So we see so many people sending money down to their uncles, to their brothers, to their sisters, to their friends. Let me build a house on Banana Island, build one in my village. I'll send money, they'll be sending you pictures, and you come home and you don't see anything, or you see something that is totally different from the kind of funds you've sent in. So there is that concern of fake promises, people promising you they are doing stuff for you and you cannot rely on them. That is also a key concern of investors. We also know that another concern that investors have is, okay, yes, I've invested. How do I have access to my money? How do I ensure that I've not invested through a 419 entity forum? Everybody come inside and I will lose my money. How will I have access to my investments? All of these concerns are valid, they are real, but that is why you are having this kind of engagement today. To the first concern, which is what we see every day. I mean, everybody knows the history of the dollar to naira exchange rates, right from 1972, when Nigeria's naira was much stronger than the dollar. A dollar was 0. So when you had the issue with Abacha, with Babangida, second-tier foreign exchange markets, and dollar naira became something crazy. In 1989, you were already exchanging a dollar for 10 naira. So that was the beginning of our problem. Abacha period, we saw 22 naira, we saw 85 naira, we saw the Jakonde allocation committee, all sorts. 2015, the government promised that the currency will not be devalued. That's why we voted them in, at 199. By the time they're going for re-election, the currency was already down 100%, and it's getting worse. Today, if you are able to get dollar at 450 naira in the regular market, you've tried, because the official market at 415, you don't get it, you don't have access to it. So we know it's a valid concern that the foreign exchange is a challenge. Now, what is the answer to this? I don't have a crystal ball, but as an investment analyst, and as someone that operates in the market, if you look at this schedule that I've shared with you, and if you look, though this is from 2006, but what you see is that, yes, you have the depreciation, but for whenever the currency is devalued, for example, if you look at 2001, when the currency was about 100 naira, it takes some time before you see a major devaluation. So we saw the first major devaluation during Sanusi era in 2009, when the dollar came to 145. So you see for like 3 years a bit of a stability, then boom, you see a decline in the value of the currency, as we saw again in 2015 when the currency depreciated to 199, 200. That also will become stable for a while, until you now see another major rise in the devaluation. So what am I saying in essence is that, yes, in the last 2 years, 3 years, we've seen a major devaluation of our currency from officially 360, 380, to now that where, if you are lucky, you can even get dollar at 575 in the market, 600. But what we think is, yes, Nigeria is not increasing in its domestic production capacity, but there may be a bit of stability, in the currency for the next couple of months, 24 months, 36 months, before, if we don't get our acts together, you may see another depreciation in the currency to 700 or thereabout, or 800. But what we're saying is that while it is good to hold some of your investments in foreign currency to hedge against the challenge of the depreciation of Nigeria's naira, we also think that we've seen a bit of the worst in recent time. So what you're going to be seeing will just be regular trading arbitrages, up today, down tomorrow. But the next time you're likely to see a major dip will be another 2-3 years. All things being equal, like I said, nobody has a crystal ball, but just technical analysis shows that investment in NGN now might be a good one, especially if you are getting decent returns. So that's the view we have on foreign exchange. Well, it's just our view. The second concern we have is fake promises of asset acquisition. So you tend to see people just sending money to their brothers, to their uncles, and nothing gets done. But we have full-fledged Islamic banks in Nigeria. You have full-fledged investment management firms that are Islamic focused in Nigeria. You even have Islamic windows in Nigeria from banks. What do these all represent? They are giving you an alternative that instead of you just sending money, converting it through Western Union because you knew you are getting a higher rate, you can actually make those investments through your Islamic banks. Occasionally, these Islamic banks participate in some investments, whether because they can hold assets, whether they are investing in real estate, you can partner with them, do a wakala, do a mudaraba, just participate in one of their instruments. These are entities that are recognized. You can decide to work with any of the leading Islamic organizations, fund managers, and see the kind of investment they are making. These are organizations that are regulated by the Securities and Exchange Commission. If they are investing in a particular commodity, in a particular real estate project, they will get you in. You can trust them. You have a regulator you can run to if things go pear-shaped. So instead of you just trusting someone you don't know, why don't you trust an entity, that has a proven record or that has even a brand to protect? If they have the asset class you desire, they will get it for you. If they don't, they will tell you. And that is what is expected of them. Then the last concern we have is lack of access to investments. So you can have access to your investment participating through the authorized investment agency firms. Marble Capital, Lotus Capital, 117 Capital. They are all there largely just to give you Islamic products. You also have access, and these would be in your name, or you can use a custodian. It's allowed for you. In fact, the Nigerian Securities and Exchange Commission requires that all investments of all investors or by its fund managers must be through custodians. Custodians provide you that added layer of comfort that your assets are held by another entity that is big enough to be licensed as a custodian. So it's not the fund manager that you're giving your money to that's holding your money. No, you can actually transfer your money directly to the custodian. All the fund manager does is make that investment decision on your behalf. They will be able to tell you, we are putting your money in this commercial paper, it's 90 days, it's Islamic commercial paper. We are investing your money in this sukuk, it's a 2-year sukuk, and you can do so knowing fully well that they are not spending your cash, they are rather putting your money in that instrument. So the only concern you may have is the instrument liquid or is not liquid, but the concern of is my money there is reduced dramatically, because your money is with another person. The shares they buy for you is not in their name, it's in the name of the custodian. Even if the fund manager that you are investing through should go belly up, you still have access to your investments. That is the way the industry has been structured to provide so much comfort and support for investors. So some of these concerns have been addressed. Not all of them can be addressed, but that gives you the opportunity to look at how do you diversify your investments. Do I put all my investments over where I'm staying with low yields, or do I diversify the investments and put some of the assets in Islamic investments in Nigeria where the yields are more interesting? Hopefully, there won't be massive foreign exchange depreciation to wipe off my intended gains. The Nigerian Securities and Exchange Commission, in pursuit of its responsibilities, actually realized the need for us to have a lot more Islamically compliant investments in Nigeria. And in its master plan, it's actually projected that by 2025, the overall participation of Nigerian sukuk and Islamic investments in the whole capital market will be about 25%. Now, that is a massive, massive ambition, because we are right now less than 3%. But it is always good to have high ambitions, and we need folks like yourselves to ensure that these ambitions become realities. When you ask questions, when you seek to participate, it will allow a lot of investment structures to be created. Last year, the Pension Commission of Nigeria introduced what we call the Fund 6, and that is a massive game changer. It is the opportunity to allow pension funds to actually create a dedicated fund for anybody that wants to manage his pension asset strictly in a halal way. So today, your pension fund is managed. It buys Nigerian breweries, they buy this, they buy that. Everything is lumped together in the RSA in Nigeria. But from last year, PENCOM has mandated fund managers in the pension space to actually create a segregated fund where the only investment types that will be there will be halal investment, and it is voluntary. So if any retiree or any RSA holder says, I want my money to be managed in a halal way, they have no choice but to put such person's money in the asset class that the person has requested for. So this allows investors to also be able to invest more in halal way. I know my time is almost up, so I will run through a few more slides. Now, there are major halal opportunities in the Nigerian market, as we currently speak. These include sukuk, which I've spoken to, commodities, which is huge. We have Islamic mutual funds, we have Islamic equities, and we also have an Islamic ETF. The sukuk, as we all know, are Sharia compliant fixed income instruments that allows you to be able to raise money to acquire or process or invest in particular assets. It must be asset backed. Nigeria has also led in the green sukuk space by issuing the first green sukuk through a company called 1 Watt Solar. Is a clean technology company that uses technology as a service, to ensure that a lot more companies get their power not from the grid but from the sun. So we participated in helping them raise a green sukuk, in this transactions. I mentioned to you earlier as well that we have a minimum of 15 halal certified stocks, on the Nigerian Stock Exchange. So whether it's MTN, whether it's Dangote Sugar, Dangote Cement, there are whether it's QTs, we have them. They are performing well, and they are also halal certified. You cannot say the only stock you can see is Nigerian Breweries. The only stock you can see is First Bank, and therefore you are not buying shares. No, there is Okomo Oil, there's Presco. These are agri-based companies that are doing so well in terms of returns, on the market. And to show you the returns that we actually talk about, last year, where the NGX returned 4.87%, I think ultimately it closed at 6%. The Marble Equities Index, which is a halal instrument, was able to do above 10%. That's on the equity side. This is in addition or excluding the dividends, that investors will have received. Commodities investment is getting bigger and bigger. I mentioned to you that we have 2 working exchanges, like an FX as demonstrated in maize, in soya beans, in paddy rice, just by sending money and investing on the exchange. And you can track it like you're tracking your stocks. So it's really, really interesting. This is the structure. They are all in warehouses certified by the Securities and Exchange Commission. So it gives you the opportunity to actually participate. And the returns have been interesting. The FX as of December last year, just between October and December, the returns was about 15%. For last year alone, for soya bean, the return was close to 97%. Maize was about 31%. Cocoa was 24%. Now, all of these investments are real. If you buy them at the beginning of the season, by the time you are exiting, you are likely to actually have a very, very decent returns. About 3 key Islamic mutual funds already exist in the Nigerian market. You have the Islamic IBTC Iman Fund, you have the Islamic IBTC Sharia Fixed Income Fund, you have the FBN Halal Fund, then you have the largest one, which is the largest real estate fund in Nigeria, which is the Chapel Hill Real Estate Investment Trust. The Chapel Hill Real Estate Investment Trust is an Islamically, is an halal compliant mutual fund. So it gives you an opportunity to actually just participate, invest in real estate instruments with any amount you have, whether it's £10,000, whether it's £1,000, whether it's £100. You can invest, buy the units, and watch as your investment goes into real estate in a securitized manner. And you actually benefit from it as well. So I would like to stop here. Like I said, the traditional asset classes, they are all Islamically compliant in Nigeria as of today. So the choices are yours. What do you want to invest in? Do you want to invest in fixed income? Do you want to invest in real estate? Do you want to invest in equities? Do you want to invest in alternatives? Do you want to invest in commodities? All of these asset classes are available. We have tried to provide investment opportunities to investors across the whole chain. So whether you are writing, whether you want to invest in a solar project, you have opportunities. Whether you want to invest in a real estate project, you have opportunities. Whether you want to invest in a long-term sukuk, the FGN sukuk gives you very decent return. You also have the private ones that also give you very high quality returns. And these are instruments that are rated. So they are not junk instruments. They are investment grade opportunities for you. So I would like to thank you for allowing me to speak to you this afternoon. I'm open for questions. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Jazakallah khairan for the presentation. Was concise and straight to the point. Before we sort of entertain questions, I just want to briefly just a quick recap of the discussion so far. Speaker started to his discussion with the definition of what halal investment are, and essentially it's sort of transactions in which it is not haram. So it's essentially, as long as it's the transaction or the investment is not haram, then it's halal for us. And as Muslims, even without too much or a very grand Islamic knowledge, we understood from various teachings of Islam the sort of transactions or investment which we can't engage in, things that are riba or interest based, things that are promoting illicit transactions like gambling, alcohol, and such. These are things that we are expected as Muslims to do away from. Our speaker also gave a brief explanation of the various traditional asset classes, ranging from cash, investment in shares, investment in fixed income, such as sukuk, real estate, commodities, and alternative investment, which could cover a range of other asset classes outside the other traditional ones. And then speaker also went on to sort of highlight what are like the major fears of investors from diaspora and investing in Nigeria, and those are essentially fear of exchange rate, fake promises of asset return, and also lack of access to good investment. But some of all these fears or these challenges could actually be overcome if one is able to identify a reputable an investment advisor or fund manager or investment company, and alhamdulillah, there are a number of them that are well established and well known to today in Nigeria, in which we can reach out to help us in this journey. We pray Allah should make it easy for us and grant us the means of growing our wealth and sustenance in the halal way. I mean, inshallah, we would entertain questions now. If you do want to ask directly, I think I can see some hands up already. Then you could just raise your hand, and I would ask you call you to ask the questions. Other than aside that, then you could also type your question in the chat, and inshallah we would pick those questions. I think I can see one hand here. Rashid Ade, is it Ade Sokon? So that I don't mispronounce the name. So you have the floor, sir.
Rashid Ade, thank you.
Now,
Assalamu alaikum wa barakatuh. Jazakumullah khairan to the speaker. Very, very insightful. Thank you. Yeah, I'll go straight to my question. Number one, I just wanted to ask, what are some of the risk that investors should bear in mind? Because I know that any investment comes with risk. So, and I know it's also it also depends on how that risk is managed. So, in the context of what you have delivered today, what are some of the significant ones that we as prospective investors should bear in mind? That's my first question. My second is, if peradventure I decided to invest through Marble Capital, and I wanted my fund or my investment to be spread across multiple investment options. So is that something that is possible with Marble Capital? So I wanted something in commodity, in Wakala, in Sukuk bonds, and so on and so forth. So with you, so will it be possible? And then also, do you have like a mobile application platform where an investor will be able to monitor how their investment is doing? So I will leave the rest of the questions for others. So thank you, Jazakumullah khairan.
Jazakumullah khairan for the question. Yeah, you can go on, sir. Dr. Hakim.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
Okay, so this is Akim's colleague, Adenike Adeboye.
Okay.
I just thought to help him out a bit.
Okay, that's fine.
So
yeah.
if it's okay, I'll take the second and the third question, and I'll leave the first one to Akim. So the second question regarding, if the gentleman asked if he could spread his investments across different asset classes, if he wanted a bit of everything, so to speak. Yes, it is possible. We have what we call the bespoke, investment account. And basically, bespoke means we tailor it to what you want, or we tailor it to what we recommend that will suit you based on your investment objectives. So it's a matter of us, having that conversation, detailed conversation with you. What are your investment objectives in the long term, in the medium term, in the short term? Is it for children's education? Is it for your own retirement? Is it for a holiday? And so on and so forth. So based on these different investment objectives, we're able to recommend the different types of asset classes that you can put your, investments in. You could choose to do periodic, investment. So say you set up a direct debit from your account if you want to. You could also choose to do lump sum investment. So as you get the funds, maybe a raise from work, or you come into some small inheritance or something, you can put the funds into it. And one of the things that we also do that I'm not sure Akim mentioned, I joined in, I think 15 minutes into the presentation, is that we offer Islamic will services. I know that, being in the UK, there could be peculiar legal requirements for those living in the UK. However, if you have assets in Nigeria and you choose to write your will in Nigeria, we do offer that service as well. Just so you know, Sharia compliance, in the comfort of your home, you feel like you go online and you sort out your assets and do your will. So we have that as well. So your question regarding having mobile application where you could check your investment, we are just about rounding up our app. We're in the test stage by the requirement of the Securities and Exchange Commission, who are those that regulate us. We have to test before we go live. So we are currently in that test stage, and in another, let's say the maximum of a month, we should be able to go live, inshallah. So besides the app, you can also go online. Our website, through our website, you can also, invest with us. And if you do want the one-on-one service, we're just a phone call away. We have live chats as well that you can chat with us via WhatsApp. Whenever you want your statements, we can print out your statement and we can send you your statement via email or however else you want to receive it. So, we are aware of the importance of technology, and we also want to use technology to drive business and, for the convenience of our customers as well. So the number one question he asked was regarding the risk, inherent in the different asset classes. As per the type of assets, there are different, risk attached to them. Like Akim mentioned, with the commodities, for instance, as interesting and profitable as it is, it also has its own risk. So there is the risk of markets, it could be volatile. However, in recent times, it has been quite stable. And the stability really is due to the demand. There is a high demand. We know that what we even grow in Nigeria cannot feed the whole of Nigeria. And then with the corona, virus in recent times as well, we know that globally there has been some sort of shortage of food generally. So this further increased the demand, in commodities. So the sort of risk that you could have with commodities are the risk of maybe pests and so on invading, warehouses, and insurance usually would take care of this. And again, the kind of, with the exchange that we are currently partnered with, that risk again has been watered down because they have, warehouses across different geolocations, in Nigeria. So the odds that, all of the warehouses will be infested at a time is quite very slim, So with the commodities, those are the obvious risk. Like I said, there is insurance, to take care of that. And also because there are lots of warehouses where the produce are actually stored, that has again sort of spread the risk and watered it down a bit. With the sukuk, the risk that you could have with sukuk really is with the promoter, the credibility of the promoter, and so on. With the federal government sukuk, I mean, what are the chances again that Nigerian government will not pay, its due? That is not a possibility that we can even entertain. Again, one of the ways that that is even further mitigated is through the trusteeship. What would I call it now? Mitigation that is part of the structure. So the trustees are saddled with the responsibility of ensuring that there's a risk of diversion of funds as well. So the trustees are saddled with that responsibility of ensuring that the funds are used for what they say they are using them for. The trustees are there, the Sharia advisors, the Sharia board are also there. So if, for instance, there's a periodic check on the infrastructure that the fund is being used for, and they find that it's not being used for what it says it's going to be used for, they raise a flag and they call, there's the possibility that they could, recall the compliance certificate on that sukuk, and the promoter is liable to pay off, the sukuk before the term is due. So those are the, immediate threats from the top of my head that I can, see as per those two asset classes. I don't know, I'm sure that Akim would have, some other, ones that he can, shed more light on. Thank you.
Jazakallah for the contribution and response to the question. Just want to see if we have an additional question. So I think another question from the audience is, what investment can the lecturer suggest for students who are not currently earning much? So what investment opportunities at MAB Capital can the lecturer suggest for students currently earning much? No. Dr. Blackie, you can go on to.
No, I did. Sorry, I lost you for a minute. I was asking other questions, please. Yeah, please repeat. Sir.
Okay, so the question, just 1 second, I need to check again. It says, what investment opportunities that Marble Capital can the lecturer suggest for students who are not currently earning much?
Okay, thank you very much. So for students that are currently not earning so much, we have mutual funds that you could actually participate in. And for mutual funds, you can invest as some of the mutual funds you can invest as low as 10,000 naira, and you'll be able to participate. Either you invest through Marble Capital or you invest through, like I said to you, we have mutual fund with FBN Halal Fund. We have Stanbic IBTC Sharia Compliant Fund. These are all ethical and Islamic investment opportunities that we can support you and ensure you get invested in through Marble Capital. Thank you.
No, for that. I think I have Dr. Mashud, his hand raised, and then Bar Rashid again has his hand raised again. So Dr. Mashud, you can go on, sir.
Okay, Jazakallah khair. So my question is for those of us, Nigerians in diaspora, who want to invest but are interested in offshore investment because of the FX fluctuation. For example, I want to invest in property in Dubai, in London, or in any other part of the world. Is there any way you or your organization or any other organization can be of help?
Thank you very much for that question. So at the moment, Marble Capital does not have investment opportunities outside of Nigeria, but we have partnership with a number of entities. So for example, I mentioned during my presentation about Wahid Invest. So Wahid Invest is an international company. We represent them in Nigeria. They also have one or two clients of ours that are able to invest on them. So they're able to give investment opportunities in other parts of the world, in the UK, in the US, and it is digital. So it's Halal investing that is digital. So you do not have to worry about signing paper documents and all of that. Everything is on the app and on the website. So you could use Wahid Invest. If you are specific about a particular country, maybe you want to get a property, we may want to support you by introducing you to one or two Islamic banks. But for us as an entity directly, we do not, as Marble Capital, have offshore investment opportunities at this time, for our clients. Rather, we go through our partners.
Thank you.
Rashid, again, I think you have your hands raised, or that was previous question.
No, it's a new virtual hand. Thanks, Brother
Okay.
Idris. Yeah, I'll make this very brief. Number one, is it possible to invest in child's name, different from my personal investment, for example? And then number two, for all my investments, when registering with you, for example, is it also a requirement that I specify like, a next of kin or like a beneficiary should something happen to me, for example, let's say, anything like, death, for example, so that I know they will have access to that, even in the absence of will. And then finally, during your presentation, you made mention of flutter waves, OP and things like that. So I just wanted to ask if you render such, similar service like, venture, capitals renders. If not, is there something that Marble Capital will be looking at incorporating into their service in the future? And then, of course, if not, do you know any Islamic VC that maybe you can recommend to us here? Thank you.
Thank you. I think Mr. Ibrahim Ahmad to ask his hand, or maybe he will ask Chloe.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Bye-bye, you can go on, sir.
All right, thank you for me. During Mrs. Adenike's response, she mentioned about insurance. So I would like to know what type of insurance structure is there at Marble Capital, whereby we know there is risk and there is everything out there about investment. Is it the conventional insurance that people are into, that Marble is into, or Is it takaful? Which one? Because many people want to know where I'm putting my money. Is it 100% Sharia compliant, or at a stage or a level there is some type of conventional stuff there that will make it not 100% Sharia compliant, so to say. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Brother Hamad. So I will answer both your question and the questions from Brother Rashid. Yeah, so the answer to your question on the insurance is for transactions that we do that are Islamic related, Islamic investment related, we encourage our clients, to utilize takaful insurance. So we have a number of takaful insurance organizations that we partner with in Nigeria. The largest one today is Nor Takaful. Nor Takaful is a very, very efficient takaful operator. So for most of the transactions that we do, we ensure that they are on board. Now, having said that, and this is to be for us to have full information and full disclosure, the Islamic finance industry in Nigeria is growing, like I showed you over the last 10 years. You may not be able to compare with the conventional space that has grown over the last 50, 60 years. What do I mean? What I mean in brief is that there are some transactions that by size, our takaful insurance businesses are not able to only provide cover for. Okay, so for such, it's our Halal committee, the phrase and the ACE have already define those ones as a daruri, as just something that is, we are not able to do it within the Islamic perspective, but it does not mean that we should not do it. So if the size of the transaction, for example, if it was an oil and gas transaction that you are going to insure $1 billion, and the largest capacity of the insurance company that we have in takaful is 5 billion naira, that means we cannot completely take the risk. You have to cede some of the risk to a conventional insurance. So I'm just giving you that information in all for full disclosure. So most of the transactions we do, these 5 billion sukuk, the 1 billion sukuk, the 200 million naira transactions, they are covered by takaful insurance. Nor Takaful, Jais Takaful, Halal Takaful, Cornerstone Takaful. Those are the insurance companies, the takaful insurance we recommend for our clients for them to use. The only time that they may have to go outside is if they exploit all the takaful and they cannot cover the risk and they have to cede it to a conventional. The questions by Brother Rashid, yes, you can invest in your child's name. So you can make an investment in your child's name. However, there will be a part there that will show, so if your child is not up to 18, there'll be a part there that will show the person that's authorized to sign, who must be someone that is of age. So even though your name of your child will be on the investment instrument, at the bottom, it will also show the guardian or the parent that is actually making the investment for the gentleman that is not yet of age. And also in your investments as well, yes, in our form, you have to state your next of kin, to guide us, in case we need to reach you, in case anything happens to you. It just makes it easier, for us to know, irrespective of whether you have a will or you don't have a will. Just stating the next of kin helps everybody in the investment community. For the investment in the likes of Flutterwave, we actually have a scheme, for some of our HNIs, where we show them such investment on a periodic basis, on a quarterly or monthly basis. And like I mentioned during my presentation, when we speak to these clients, to these HNIs, we let them understand, please, we're not asking you to invest 50% of your money in these ventures. Maybe a 15%, maybe a 20%, maybe even a 10%. Funds that you are investing in because you believe in the transaction, but not funds that you want to use to pay school fees next quarter or next term. That's not the kind of funds you invest in. A Flutterwave, you invest in a Paystack, you invest in OPay, you invest in Halal Invest, and all of these transactions. So funds that you can do away with for 5 years, for 3 years, and it's an equity investment. So you only make money when the business succeeds. If the business goes belly up, you are willing to write off that check. or at least a portion of it. So it's very different from an investment in fixed income securities. You are buying the rentals every 6 months. You are buying equities on the exchange. You expect to get dividend if the company declares dividend every year. So this venture capital type investments, they are long-term, the risks are high, but the returns can be just out of this world as well. And they are halal. We only show you investments that we know are halal or that our Halal committee has reviewed. Thank you.
Jazakallah khairan. There is one other question here in the chat. It says, what advantages would investment in real estate via the market have over buying from a realtor, as an example?
Please, I didn't get that question properly.
So it says, what advantages would investment in real estate via the market have over buying from a realtor, as an example? I guess it's probably asking around if maybe investment in a real estate ETFs over direct engagement in yeah.
Thank you very much. So there are two major advantages. The number one advantage is that by buying in with a realtor or someone selling real property to you will cost you a significant pot of money. By investing in a real estate investment trust, you can actually determine how much you want to invest. So if a property will cost £200,000, £50,000 to buy a standard property in the UK, and you have only £2,000, you can actually use this £2,000 to invest in a real estate investment instrument trust. Proportionate ownership, that your £2,000, that's just the major difference. That's about a diversified pool. So you may be investing in commercial, maybe investing in residential. So they'll have assets of about 3-4 assets in that REIT. So if you give them £1,000, £10,000, you are having proportionate ownership in all those 4 items. So if one of them collapses, or if one of them is struck by a bomb, or if one of them, the rental does not come through, your returns are diversified, even though they are all in real estate. So you get all the benefits of a real estate investment, but you also have a benefit. Oh, this one is in Kaduna, this one is in Port Harcourt, this one is in Lagos. The rentals here are higher than the ones in Abuja and all of that. So you get a blended return. So your risk is minimized. That's the advantage of investing in a real estate security, either via Sukuk or via a REIT, as against owning that property by yourself. So if you invested in one asset yourself, you bought a flat in Banana Island, yes, you get good rental yield. But if Banana Island became flooded tomorrow and nobody decides to stay in your place, for that period, no returns for you. Meanwhile, it would be the other way around if you had invested in a real estate investment trust. How do I register with Marble Capital? You could go directly to our website, marblecapitallimited.com or marble.capital. You'll be able to download our forms, you'll be able to have access to us, and we can give you all the information that you require to be a part of the Marble family, and your investments can be undertaken. Is there any chance of a one-on-one for those who do not understand all this financial language and jargons? Absolutely, absolutely. So we have an opportunity, if you go onto our website, where you can actually indicate that you like a private consultancy, where we agree a time that suits you, and we can give you a call, have a chat on Zoom, directly one-on-one with you, break down those areas that you feel are maybe financial jargons that you don't understand, and we are able to provide those answers to you. Yeah, so that opportunity exists for us at Marble Capital. You can always participate. Yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah, and can I confirm that this sort of first introductory talk is free and no charge for the initial consultancy, or is chargeable?
No charge here. So
okay, all right, cool. Okay.
Someone is also asking for the rate of return on the REIT if you offer such a product. So the Islamic REIT in Nigeria today is by Chapel Hill Denham. is the largest Islamic fund today in Nigeria. You know, the returns are around 10%, 10, 11%. It was launched at the dead of COVID-19 in 2020. So the first full financial year is actually last year. You know, so their financials should be out any moment from now. So yeah, so that's it. So the return is
okay. I think there are no other questions.
So sorry, I'm on your website, and I know somebody gave me www.marble.capital, but what I'm seeing on Google is marblecapitallimited.com. Are those two the same?
yeah, the same. Yeah, so we migrated from marble.capital to Marble Capital Limited. Yeah, they are both the same. You will see the same thing. It's been moved to each other, to the same place. Yes.
Okay. And then I can transfer, if I want to fund my account, I can do that directly without first converting it to Naira and then sending to you. Is that right?
Yeah, so we have a dollar account, you know, where you'll be able to effect your transfer and you get a CCI for your investments, you know, then the Naira will be given to us by the bank, you know, and that's what we'll invest for you.
Okay. So when registering, which address would you advise I use, my UK address or my Nigerian address?
It's actually at your choice. It's actually your choice. Yeah.
Okay.
Makes no difference.
Thank you, brother. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Okay, so it looks like we've exhausted the question. I don't know if there is any further question from the audience. Okay, Dr. Moshood, I don't know if you want to give any remark or at this point in time or additional contribution, Dr. Moshood.
No, I think it's just for you to wrap up the program. Appreciate the invited speaker and the audience.
Okay, all right. I think you've done that already, so we use this opportunity to appreciate our guest speaker, Dr. Abdulhakeem. It's a pleasure having you today here, and the session it was an insightful session, and I hope the audience they also benefited from this immensely. I hope my channel should continue to reward you abundantly. I mean, it's not an easy feat in the likes of the lot of conventional investment and the likes happening there in the market, and then this is just an attempt to ensure that the Muslims have access to viable investments which are in line with their faith. So aside from the business side of it, I think it's also an act of ibadah on the side. The Pure Mashallah should reward you abundantly and make this the endeavor, make it easy for you. I mean, we use this opportunity to also appreciate all our audience. We thank you very much for joining us in this sunny UK afternoon. Yeah, so Jazakallah khair everyone for joining us, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the day and the weekend. I mean, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.